What do we need to know about the energies for the week October 13th through the 19th? Welcome to Trevor's Tarot Astrology and Spirituality. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for your likes, your watches, your shares. Sharing the videos and watching them all the way to the end really do help the algorithm spread the videos to more people. So huge, huge thank you for that. And thank you for hyping the videos. Um, okay, so the week October 13th through the 19th, there's like this calm optimism. And it's calm because it's like we don't know whether we can trust it or not. It's like we want to be optimistic that things are improving in our personal lives. And I'm just talking about personal lives here. Um, but there's a little bit of reservation to say the least about it. It's like we want to feel optimistic, but then we pull ourselves back. We hear good news and we're like, we can't quite trust it. And it's kind of this push and pull. At the same time, I do think this is a big week for self-care for a lot of us here. Definitely, you know, taking the time to take some deep breaths, massaging your temples, uh, just little things like that. I think somebody's doing a facial, it's one of those at-home like masks, stuff like that. Um, I think is going to be quite prevalent this week. So, if you feel the urge to do self-care, do it. Because there's also going to be kind of this nagging voice telling us we don't have time, or that's really not that important, or, you know, it's too much of a hassle to actually, take a bubble bath over taking a shower, or whatever it is that you like to do to relax, or the lighting is annoying somebody and not wanting to read a book for some reason. So, but even reading a book, watching your favorite show, all these are forms of self-care. So, there's also this like desire for big projects. I don't think we necessarily start them, although some of us will, but we're thinking big picture this week. We're thinking about you know, paying off mortgages or car loans or things like that. If we have this extra money, what are we going to use it for? A lot of us are also thinking about um, creative projects like painting and writing and um, uh, you know, remodeling parts of the house, and not things that are super expensive necessarily either. Just rearranging the balcony for somebody seems like something that you've been contemplating doing for a while, and you just haven't done because it's a hassle because you have to take this stuff and then you have to take it to the dumpster or put it on the curb, and you get it. It's a lot. It can be overwhelming. So our capacity for nonsense this week is very little. Now, I don't think that means we're snippy because I just don't think anybody's really pushing our buttons. But if they are, we could be quite snippy this week. Uh, and I think most everybody's on the same wavelength of kind of staying out of everybody's way is kind of what it feels like. It feels like limited conversations and grocery stores, this kind of thing. Just it's very quiet. It feels like a very quiet week on an individual level. Now, on a geopolitical level, that's a different story altogether. It's quite a reflective week. I think a lot of us will be reflecting on people that have passed over, in particular parents and children that have passed, and possibly some siblings that were either for somebody a sibling that was quite a bit older, and for another person a sibling that was quite a bit younger that passed. Um, it it is a form of grief for sure, but it's like it's not sad in the way that um we associate, death with. It's more poignant. It's more appreciative of the time that we had together and of the lessons we learned from one another. So I really do think there's this embracing of lessons we've learned from the people that came before us, and maybe they came after us, but they left before us. It's kind of all the same thing. Um, so it's going to be a very interesting week, but I think it's going to be a quiet optimism, is the way I'm going to describe it. So let's throw a couple oracles from the Oracle of the Seven Energies here. These feel right. Um, Earth magic, you know, grounding ourselves is a form of self-care. Walking, obviously, if you've got diabetes or things like that, don't go walking barefoot. I'm not suggesting that for people that it's not healthy for. But if you're in a condition where you can walk around barefoot, walking through the cold grass in the morning or on the beach, if you happen to be in those locations, I think there's really something to touching the soil this week. And if we can't touch the soil per se with our feet, we can touch it with our hands. And if we don't want to touch the soil at all, we can watch the birds or the squirrels as they're preparing for their retreats, or the squirrels in my neighborhood are getting super fat because they're just eating, eating, eating like crazy. So all of these. This is also the first card in this Oracle deck. So it does very much feel like this week is kind of a big shift in energy for the better. Um, we get a burst of magic. Yeah, I feel like there's just like these little moments that bring a smile to our face, especially when we're thinking about people that have crossed over. It's like, goofiness and like especially with those of you that have lost a sibling. Um, and then we get smoke and mirrors, and I think this is why the week is quiet. Because a lot of us realize the stuff going around us is nothing but smoke and mirrors. That's all it is. It's just loudness for the sake of being loud. It's not really anything more than that. And then the last one, we get close encounters. Um, yeah, there's there's a real potential to uh connect with people that have crossed over this week. Now, we are getting closer to Halloween, which a lot of people believe is the best time to do that. Um, for me, it just kind of comes and it goes. It's not something I really can control all that well. Um, but I know there are those that can. But it feels like we're close to something. It feels like things are really turning and we're getting close to something. So it's an exciting week. Underneath here we have um, a merry motive. Uh, I like that. Like we're doing things to make ourselves feel better this week. So I think that's really good. Let's just pull a couple cards from the Angels and Ancestors Oracle. It definitely feels like, we need to aim our pictures bigger. Like our we've gotten, because of a lot of the geopolitical nonsense this year, our vision has very much narrowed. This isn't a bad thing, and this isn't, a judgment. It's just, I think it's just reality for most of us. Our vision has just narrowed, and like seeing the big picture is gotten really difficult. We've talked about this in the past. Like it's hard to envision the future. Um, I feel like this starts to widen, like our vision starts to widen, and we start to remember that not everything is that negative. The star ancestor, follow the voice of your soul. I like that for us. If you feel like talking to somebody who's passed over, talk to them. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to be embarrassed by it. Just do it. Somebody, I get it. Like there's some hang-ups with like accepting the fact that maybe we have some enhanced abilities when it comes to, perception of things that are to come or perception of, people that have passed. Embrace it this week if you can. Take charge with authority, the Lord card. Um, I think this is about taking control of these big picture projects. If you want a new kitchen island in your kitchen, tell the contractor exactly what you want. No ambiguity this week. It's not the week for it. And it doesn't have to be a kitchen island, by the way. That's just an example. Uh, Anything that you're having somebody else do for you, make sure you're crystal clear about what you want. No ambiguity. The week isn't meant for ambiguous statements. And we get the oracle. Wait for important information. I think this has to do with, especially those of you that have lost a child, which I'm sorry that you've gone through that in life, but um, information's going to be coming this week for sure. It's going to be probably a smell I'm getting for somebody. There's a smell that comes back to you that just like it takes you back to remembering times when they were still with us. And you might even feel drawn to cook their favorite meal even if you don't like it. Uh, just do it. No judgment. Um, so yeah. Okay. Let's just throw a few cards from the major arcana deck, and then I'll pull out the tarot and we'll um look at let's do three cards. What are the big themes for this week? Definitely see the star card in the water. It's a lot of hope. It's a lot of optimism. It's a lot of wishing, starting new, thinking about big projects, not necessarily starting them, just thinking about them, planning them, making sketches. Um, we have the Tower card and the Chariot card. By now, moving forward with the Chariot card, the Tower card's tearing down belief structures that really don't work for us anymore. And I think this has to do with some spiritual growth for a few people, especially when it comes to the metaphysical world that we live in. And one more. This one. The Hanged Man. Yeah, I think we're going to be thinking about big projects. I don't think we're going to be starting them. Underneath, we have the Empress. That's that maternal uh, grief that I think people are going through this week. So, um, but it'll be poignant. It really will. So I think, moving forward, tearing down belief structures, all of these things are super important. I think we'll use this. This is the Unveiled Tarot. Use this every once in a while. It's a interesting deck. All right, what do we need to know for the week? The Two of Swords popped out. I'm gonna have to make some decisions without really knowing the consequences of them, but we'll make the right choice. What do we need to know for this week? The week October 13th through the 19th. What do we need to know? What do we need to know? The week October 13th. Let's see. Somebody coloring their hair. I like it. This is all part of that self-care that we talked about. The Queen of Cups. It is one of those very reflective type of weeks. It's you know, here she's sitting on the dock and she's looking into what I'm presuming is water. It reminds me of like relaxing times in the summer. It looks like she has a glass of wine next to her as well. Her feet are in the water. I guess I could look closer. Um, that grounding thing that we talked about putting our feet on the earth. Putting your feet in the water, I think, is equivalent to that. I think that'll make the week be more meaningful. And then we get the lovers card here. Unlikely partnerships, choices, uh, possible contracts. If you are one of those that was talking about that are thinking about signing some contracts for contractors, just make sure everything's exactly like you're wanting it. I don't think anything bad's going to happen. It just is kind of a distrusting thing. That's why I said we're optimistic, but we have reservations at the same time. I think this is also reflecting on just past relationships or, partners that have passed over as well. We get the strength card. We're just going to be quiet this week. The strength card's all about like quiet diplomacy. And, I just feel like that's kind of the way we walk through the week. It's like we don't need to be heard unless it's something really important. We don't even necessarily even want to be seen this week. We want to just take care of ourselves. We want to think about the things going on in our lives. We want to focus on us this week, and that's perfectly okay because there's been so many weeks over the last month or so where we haven't been able to do that. So I like it. The Queen of Pentacles, stability, financial planning. This is what I was talking about. Somebody's thinking about planning on paying off their mortgage early, and somebody's thinking about paying off a car loan. Um, Trying to decide what to do with a little bit of extra money. Now, if you're blessed with a little extra money, then by all means, go through that process. If you're not, perhaps it's thinking about ways to stretch your money. Um, but it's not. It doesn't feel stressful. It just feels like a fact. We get the Ten of Wands at the center. I think this is us letting our burdens go. It's not that they're not still there, right? The world is still crazy. Nothing's really changed geopolitically. Um, you know, People in the United States are still living through craziness. People in Ukraine and Russia are still living through craziness. Gaza and Israel is still crazy, although it seems like it might get better. Um, it's not like our burdens go away, but it's like it's just easier this week to like put one foot in front of the other. Like it's just easier. It's not like we're letting our burdens go because we can't, but we just put one foot in front of the other. And we get the Seven of Pentacles. These are these creative big projects I was talking about, the brain really turning the cogs, so to speak, especially creative projects, writing books, screenplays, paintings, redoing some indoor space, just moving furniture around to move furniture around, um, to make the space more efficient. Uh, I think all those things are going to be going on. Whether we do them or not this week is a different story. We're just going to be thinking about them this week. And we might have been thinking about them for a while, but they're really going to be on our mind this week. With the Eight of Wands, the week is going to go by quickly. It just is. Nothing wrong to that. It's just the way it is. And part of that is because there's not really um, too many upsetting days. It just feels like most days are just kind of, okay, okay. And that's just kind of the way the week goes. Uh, the Nine of Wands, a lot of that is because we've already put up some guardrails to keep ourselves safe in the past. That started this past summer when I told you the Nine of Wands would keep popping up. And the Moon card, there'll be some volatility for sure, but it's kind of in our head. It's not really um, going to affect us in any other way. Not the geopolitical world, of course, it'll be volatile, but for us, it's kind of like you know the volatility. There'll be some things that perhaps get on our nerves, like somebody's got a dog who won't stop barking, but um, in all, it feels like a pretty good week. I think put your feet on the ground, put your feet in the water, feel the earth if you can. Um, one foot in front of the other, kind of just going with the ebbs and flows of the week, I think is the right approach. I think the week will go by quickly because that's the way we do it. And we walk quietly this week. We just do. We walk through the week pretty quiet. We're not out to make big scenes this week, and we certainly don't want to see big scenes either. So we're just kind of going with the flow. And a lot of that is because we're in our own head about big creative projects or about money management or about grief, past relationships. And we've also decided that we're putting some distance between ourselves and the things that have been bothering us, like the news, for example. If you've decided not to watch the news for a while, this seems perfectly reasonable. Uh, the Knight of Cups, yeah, we're going to have some emotional thoughts. I don't know that they're messages, they're just thoughts that pop into our head this week. We get two of the Knights. There's a potential to go down a dark road here with the Devil card, but um, or it's just, you know, remembering people that have passed from addiction issues or aren't in our lives anymore because of addiction. These are difficult things. So, um, yeah, I think all in all, it feels like a pretty decent week. Not going to say it's super spectacular, but I also don't think it's like overwhelmingly negative or anything like that. It's quiet. It just feels like a very quiet week. Um, all right, let's end with some animal oracles. What do we need to know for this week, October 13th through the 19th? What do we need to know? The hummingbird spirit. Be here now. Enjoy the week. Enjoy it as it comes. Those thoughts about passed over loved ones in particular, enjoy them. Uh, for some of you, it might be the first time where you're able to enjoy some of these thoughts without the tears, or without, maybe there's still tears, but without the pain, right? Um, in the eagle spirit, the spirit has your back, but also see the world from a higher perspective. Think about the eagle flying through the sky. The big picture is going to be the kind of the key to why this week is quiet. And then taking time out, the brown bear, I think that fits perfectly with exactly what I'm saying of just taking time out for self-care and overcoming any obstacles, the rhino. This is like we're not putting down our burdens. We're not ignoring them. We're just putting one foot in front of the other because that's really all we can do this week, is what it feels like. And then don't forget the otter spirit. You know, you're never alone, but also think about the otters playing all the time. Be playful. I think it's as we get older, we forget that there's still time to play. There's still time to have fun, you know? And then the scarab beetle magic works through you underneath. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good week. All right. Thank you for watching. I will be back with another video soon.